A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave of too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the move.
Well, y'all. I want to do this video real quick, man. Talk about a few things in regards to, Nolan Wells' situation, but it's not necessarily about the situation. It's really about, like Officer Tatum, right? Him and what he's doing and taking a position of, supporting the really denigration of black people, the mishandling of different cases, black people, the just blatant mishandling of cases, and also degradation, marginalization, the systematic denial of equality, to black people, just the overall, mistreatment of black people, right? And the systematic, oppression of black people, in this country. So in saying that, I'm because of watching, him talk and everything, and talk about Nolan Wells' case, also him feeling like the people that were with him, those teenagers that were with him, told truth. They were truthful in telling their story about what happened, what happened or whatever. So it is it's a particular behavior that he's engaged in. People talked about it, but they didn't address it in this sense that what he's doing, and it's been done time and time again by those who feel like they have a certain position, and what they will do is talk down on their own people, because they're like, okay, well, you don't have a position or you don't have any power to do anything about it or to stop me. So that's what ends up happening. They talk down, which are punch down on their own people. It's basically you can what I call is the Bully Coon Paradox. So other people, other things. Why did a little research or whatever on it. Said it's called like lateral or internalized oppression. Opportunistic aggression, people that engage in that type of behavior, more like lateral violence or whatever, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. They did put it in a way, that could be understood as that, since some people, like I said, engage in that, lateralized violence or, internal aggression, towards their own people, because they in their minds, they have made up in their mentality is that, okay, if you don't have anything to do or anything about it, you can't stop me because you're in a weaker state as well as I am. You're oppressed like I am, and I know this because I'm in the same state with you. So you don't have any ability to stop me. I can ad nauseum. I can continue to talk about you with impunity, and nothing will happen to me. Because I know you have no ability to do anything about it, because I am in the same position. I look just like you, and I know, the state of your, position, or, your, being in the position, you're the weakest state you are in. So then, I can, basically stamp down on you. I can push down on you, you know. So, you know, with that, like that's what he's doing. You know, he's pushing down on, you know, on black people because he thinks in his mind that we have no ability to do anything about it, you know. But I am seeing, you know, what I am seeing though is that, you know, we're all coming together and we're tired of this, you know, and also what social media has done as well. It showed that, and it showed that we have power, you know, to like, hey, to voice our opinion and to come together and to like put an end to this particular behavior, you know, from white people or whoever, white people or whoever it may be that, you know, tries to engage in any type of ill-begotten or, you know, treacherous behavior towards us, you know. So I would say that, man, that we are showing that we have power. Also, you know, people like people like you know, the so-called Officer Tatum. He is, you know, basically doing that, you know. And the same thing with to get attention, right? Same thing with Charleston White, doing the same thing, you know, just to get attention, seek some form of, you know, way to get in 15 minutes of fame, you know. And that's another thing. That's another mentality that people have, you know, just to get some form of attention. They will really do anything. Like that's psychology, man. It is a attention-seeking psychology that is very, you know, that's dangerous within itself. You know, that you would seek attention so bad that, you know, you want attention in some form of fashion or money or whatever it may be, right? So you can get attention, that you would do anything, you know, and that's a you know, that's a problem. That's a psychology, you know, that has to be, you know, it really weeded out, you know what I'm saying, and actually pointed out, you know, and let people like that do that, let them suffer their own fate, you know. Don't even talk, like, don't even mention, don't even talk about it, don't even bring them up, you know, give them no validity to what they say, you know, and let them rot in their own, wallow in their own mud, you know, because that's what they're gonna, you know, that's basically the plight. That's their fate, you know. And then the crazy part about it is that when they see that the people they have stumped down on rise up and do something very extraordinary, you know, then they're gonna want to reclaim the glory of their people. You know, but at that, you know, but then it's like, nah, we don't want you. Stay over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay over there, you know, because you would just jump sides. It don't matter who, you know, it's kind of like a sports team. You'll jump with whatever team is winning. You know what I'm saying? Your team that you really, that's been your hometown team, that's the team, you know what I'm saying, you ain't loyal to. You know, you jump around, but when that team go to winning, then you jumping back on the bandwagon. But it's like, nah, we don't want you. We good. You know what I'm saying? We was down, but now we back. You know what I'm saying? We back winning. You know, so that's the same thing with black people. Yeah, we probably down. We was down for a while, but like, man, this is what it is. You know, and it's written. You know, it's basically scripture that we will come back to the fold. We will be back to where we in position, you know what I'm saying? And we are reaping all the benefits, you know, of our struggle, as well as our efforts to, you know, regain our divinity, you know. So, you know, I would say that, man. But yeah, man. Why? And I'll say this too, man. To all the people out there, I don't care who sees this, man. You know, man, woman, whoever it may be, child, man. Always support your people, man. We are great people. You know, just because we might be going through something, we might, you know, as a people, you know, it's here in the diaspora, we may be going through something. You know, don't jump ship and feel like, oh, you know, black people, I don't, you know, I don't want to be associated with black people, man. We, you know, it's too much, or our culture, because we got so much, we have so much going on. We have so many people coming against us, you know, and we've been in a state of, you know, a weakened state, I would say, for so long. But one thing I know about us is that once we get it together, we make up our minds, and we come back to knowing who we truly are, we're gonna rise. We're gonna rise, and ain't nothing gonna stop us. So that's what I know. You know what I'm saying? And people out there, raise your kid, man. Please raise your kids. Man, raise your sons, raise your daughters, man. Daughters to always, believe in us, man. Believe in us, believe in their people. Believe in black, believe in black people, man, because, we are divine, and I know that once we get it together, like it's no stopping us, and that's why we're always targeted. That's why people always try to come against us, keep us apart, break us apart, because they know the truth. They know that that's what we're gonna do. That's what we always, and that's what we've always done, actually. To tell you the truth, we would always rise, coming out of whatever state where we may be in. We always rise. You know what I'm saying? And this situation right here with Nolan Wells, we coming back to like, hey, we're not going to accept it. We're not accepting any type of mistreatment. You know what I'm saying? Any type of form of cover up, or you just throwing the facts to the side, or saying that this is just another case of suicide. You're misaligning the facts, or trying to derail the facts, or hide the facts, what really occurred. We're not accepting it. It's like, hey, we want accountability. That's what it is. And we're not accepting anything else for an answer. We want accountability. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that. And this is what this is showing us. And like I said in the prior video, it's showing us we have power as well, to come together and demand the facts. People doing their part on social media as well. People out here like, going and covering things and talking about the situation. You know what I'm saying? And we're all showing also on social media like, hey, nah, man, we're not accepting it. We're not accepting it. And, same thing with Carmelo Anthony, same thing with Nolan Wells, Martravion Reed, all the other people that this happened to. We're not accepting you just saying, TJ Davis, we're not accepting you just saying that this is it's a suicide, it's another day's work, and that's, and then we'll call it a day, and, on to the next case. Like, no. We're not accepting that. You know what I'm saying? And it's unacceptable. That's what we're showing. Like, hey, this is unacceptable. We're not trying to hear it, and we're not going to accept that and continue to accept this happening, to our young men and women, so just wanted to say that, man. But anyway, I had to get on here and say that, man, because it continues to happen in a repeated fashion, and it's time to put a stop to it. It's time to, like, hey, man, this is not acceptable, and we're not accepting it anymore. But anyway, I just want to say that. Also, like I said, mention about that mentality, those things, the Bully Coon Paradox, those things need to be mentioned. You know what I'm saying? The actual terminology or the mentality of people that needs to be pointed out. It's a Bully Coon, same thing. Like I said, Officer so-called Tatum, same thing with Charleston White. It's what it is. A Bully Coon mentality. You do anything to get attention, then you talking down on your own people in the same state that you in, because you feel like you're not gonna suffer no consequences. You know what I'm saying? But you'll never talk to the people, that you're looking up to, the people that's you'll turn a blind eye to that, to the so-called, people in power. You'll turn a blind eye to that, you know what I'm saying? But you'll put, punch down on your own people, and totally support another culture or another people that's oppressing your people and trying to marginalize your people because you feel like you're gonna get some brownie points. You feel like you're gonna get some type of attention, you know what I'm saying? And you're willing to even, you're willing to subject yourself to the hate, or the scrutiny of your own people because you're like, hey, it don't matter anyway. I just want the attention. I just want the money. I just want the little 15 minutes of fame. You will ostracized even to the sake of being ostracized, for your own little 15 minutes of fame. A little few dollars in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? But you would say nothing to the people that's continue to show a pattern, a repeated pattern, a repeated history of doing things to, like I said, systematically deny equality to your own people. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, that mentality, it has to be eradicated. Same thing, like I said, about the attention-seeking mentality, that people have, and they're willing to do anything, to get attention, and so it's like, man, it's sad, you know what I'm saying? Because I would even equate it to this, people like that, just so they can get a few dollars in the pocket, people like that, man, if they was in a position to continue to get a few dollars or whatever, if they could help keep black people marginalized, they'll do it. And that's sad, man. That is sad. That's like people in slavery will help to continue to, for slavery to actually be in existence. They will continue slavery. They will, as long as they're taken care of, they got they clean bed to lay in. They got food coming from the master house. You know what I'm saying? They're they got they little boy, whatever, bound down to the master. They little girl bound down to the master. As long as they family taken care of, they're allowed. They won't even care. They'll continue, to support the system of slavery as long as they got it. And if black people are trying to do something about it, make sure that the people that are oppressing them can make sure they keep them oppressed, keep their own people oppressed, so it's sad, man. You know what I'm saying? I just, like I said, I just had to say that because you have people out there, man, that are willing to sacrifice, like, really their own people, man, for the sake of a little bit of fame, a little bit of money in their pocket, it's a little bit of attention. It's sad, you know what I'm saying? And to those people, that's what I'm talking about. That is unacceptable. And we got to, like, seriously, man, expose them, make sure people know and see what they're doing, and also recognize, like I said, the mentality, and also recognize the state of mind that they have, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna just get up out here, man. I just want to say that. I hope y'all out there doing well, living life full of love and happiness. You know what I'm saying? Doing great. You know what I'm saying? Strive for greatness every day. But get up off here, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all liking, sharing my video, comment on the video. To the next one, y'all. Love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change a page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing on some real shit. We ran the world.